Gamers, my name is KarQ. We have big news in the Marvel Rivals world. Normally this video is like going on Reddit and reading some of the most top upvoted posts, but most of the top upvoted posts today are screen caps and screenshots of the dev update, the Dev Vision Volume 6 for Season 2.5, which is their mid-season patch coming in next week for Marvel Rivals, and the Ultron trailer. Lots of screen caps and speculation on what he does. So what I'm going to do in this video is actually cover the news, cover everything that they talked about in the dev video, break down Ultron's video, and then go through some of the posts through the week near the end. So let's begin. You can see this was uploaded like 3 hours ago. A lot of views, #1 on trending, but it's a pretty long video, so I'm going to try to shorten the 13 minutes to like a 2-minute coverage. Here we go. First thing we have is a brand new map called Arakko, which is Krakoa's sister island. Here's a couple of screen caps or a little like, you know, drive-by on what the map kind of looks like. A lot of lore with Ultron stealing Cerebro and all that stuff in the Marvel universe, but it looks very pretty. I just hope the map doesn't play like trash, because I'm gonna be honest, as pretty as the maps are, the recent like New York maps, Krakoa, they play like ass. I'm gonna be real with you. All right, we have Ultron, the brand new strategist coming in for mid-season 2. We'll cover that trailer just shortly after this video, okay? All right, there's a brand new mode called Ultron's Battle Matrix Protocol coming on June 6th. It's basically TFT. You choose your own hero lineup, and you have like a bunch of augments and stuff. You have to build some traits. You get attack speed stuff. Then you have a bunch of like hexes in TFT, but this one's just little rectangles. Align your units where you want them, and then they just battle for you. Auto battle, I believe. Well, I assumed auto battle, but the more I watch this, the more it seems like you actually do have some control of your character in some capacity. You press, maybe you just control them and make them heal or make them move in a certain way. All in all, reminds me a lot of TFT. It's a tactical solo game mode to enjoy temporarily, so hopefully it's fun. Next, they have like a little improvement to the mood and emoji systems proficiency avatars. In short, they're letting you have your Lord portrait show up in the character select screen, so that's pretty cool. You also get some new mood and emojis. You can add little things to your name, I guess, and then, you know, pop them in the game. Starting season 3, the new seasons will be shortened to 2 months each, so after this, no more long 3-month seasons with like these half seasons coming in 6 weeks in. I do agree that 3-month seasons do feel pretty long after experiencing it a little bit. I think the shorter one will help the player base feel more refreshed with a better cadence of content coming in. The only downside is devs get squeezed in terms of like the quality of the content being released every 2 months instead of 3 months. It gives them less time. So hopefully if they can upkeep the quality despite the shorter seasons, we're in for a good ride here. All right, so big changes for team ups this season. So the new team ups being added. First one they're going to show off right here is the symbiote shenanigans for Venom and Jeff. Venom is the anchor and Jeff is on the receiving end. In short, the symbiote now gets shared with Jeff, and any allies that is linked with Jeff will get healed as well. So you can see the Punisher getting healed right here. Next team up is Operation Microchip, which is the Punisher and Black Widow. It basically lets Black Widow shoot a piercing shot that goes through many targets. Here's an example clip. Bam. Bam. All right, Luna Snow plus Hawkeye's team up. Ice Arrow. Luna's the anchor, and it now gives Hawkeye the ability to shoot an ice arrow that hits multiple targets. It goes through terrain, as he just said, and it freezes or stuns them past a certain distance. In this clip, it's 30 meters, and all these bots get stunned, so I assume 30 meters is the threshold. If you're any closer, it's probably just an AoE slow. Next team up is Rocket Network with Rocket Raccoon and Penny Parker. Rocket is the anchor, and it looks like Penny gets a second nest, and the second nest will help extend the web distance, so the you know, the spider drones can like travel across both of them. And it looks like the second nest also spits out armor packs, similar to what Rocket Raccoon's BRB does automatically. Conversely, Rocket also gets a different beacon. It now looks like his beacon spits out spider webs, spider drones, and arachno mines, but it looks like you cannot have the original BRB with the spider nest at the same time. So you can see here in the subtitles, or you can hear him say, the enhanced beacon and the original can't be active at the same time. The next team up is Stark Protocol with Iron Man being the anchor and Ultron getting the benefit of it. He gets a piercing unibeam that looks like it heals and it deals damage in a long beam. Think Moira's Coalescence from Overwatch if you played it. Next team up is the JEFF-NADO, the JEFF-NADO, Storm and Jeff. You thought the Human Torch plus Storm with the Firestorm was cool. Now we have Jeff spinning around with a little water attack instead of the Firestorm, the Water Storm, excuse me, a tsunami, a cyclone, whatever you want to call it, a hurricane. Truly a hurricane this time. So those are the 6 new team ups. They're going to be adjusting the existing team ups as well. They are removing Chilling Charisma, so the Luna and Jeff. They're removing allied agents, Hawkeye and Black Widow, removing the infinite ammo from Rocket and Punisher, Punisher, and removing the Spider-Man, Venom, and Penny symbiote bond. That's actually a big nerf to Spider-Man because he loses that infinite or that invulnerability thingy that he uses, which is a big part of his kit when he plays with that team up dive. So that's an indirect nerf. Well, not even indirect, a direct nerf to Spider-Man, Venom team up, big time. But nobody really played Venom and Penny. Let's be real here, because they play very different. But the big nerf is to these two. They also said Iron Man will be removed from the Gamma Charge team up, so now it's only Hulk and Namor. Now let's move on to the balance changes. For the Vanguards, they are buffing Strange and Magneto, but nerfing Groot, Captain America, and Emma Frost. For the Duelists, they're nerfing Iron Fist, Human Torch, and Psylocke, but buffing Punisher, Squirrel Girl, and Storm. For the Strategists, they're adjusting Luna, where they're nerfing the rate she builds her ultimate charge, but they're buffing her standard abilities or her neutral outside of it. And they're sort of reworking Jeff in some capacity is what they said. If you actually look back at Jeff here, you can actually see he only gets 3 of his little spitting ice ball thingies, his primary, his like main damage source, and he only gets 3 bubbles, but they're probably buffing other aspects of it. I'm assuming they're probably going to buff the raw healing stream in some capacity, or maybe the bubbles heal more, or each of these specific impacts of these right clicks or secondary fires, whatever it's bound to on controller, will be probably doing more damage. Not too sure about that, but they are definitely reworking him in some capacity, as you can see there from the UI in the bottom right. For some of the active team ups as well, it looks like they are actually nerfing the Fantastic Four team up. He didn't specify what specifically, but I assume probably just like the overall, the overhealth that they gained. They're also nerfing the Hulk, Namor, Gamma Squid. You get a little down arrow over here, and they're nerfing the Magneto, Psylocke, and Emma team up as well to kind of tune things up. And that's the short of the entire dev vision. That was a 13-minute video once again, and we cut it down. Now let's take a look at the Ultron trailer and break down what we see here. All right, I pre-watched this and I hope you guys watch it too. I'm gonna quickly pause and pick up what I see here. So it looks like he shoots, his primary fire is a beam, but it has 6 ammo, right? You'd think a beam has like a long like ammo count, kind of like, 100 ammo, and it slowly drains over time at a fixed rate. But if you actually watch it carefully, you can see every time he holds the beam long enough, it like pumps out like a shot, right? Like boom, boom, right there. So every time that little like pump comes out, that's when it drains 1 ammo. So you have to hold the beam for an extended period of time, and once that pump comes out, it'll drain 1. Additionally, in this thing, he pressed the L shift, which is his movement ability. It's bound to the same button as like Human Torch's flight, for example, for the console players who don't know the PC bindings. It looks like it's an 8-second duration to have kind of free flight in that way. That's 2 of the abilities. There it is. It gives you an initial boost of speed. You can see when he got picked up by Wolverine's leap, and now he's flying in the air for 8 seconds, holding the primary fire. But it seems like every time the thing pumps out, maybe it like stops. Actually, now that I watch it again, the beam, beam, beam. Once the pump comes out, he has to lift up his arm and do like a little mini reload during it. Yeah, there it is. Every time the pump comes out, yeah, it stops. Boom. It pauses. Boom, boom, pauses. So that's where the ammo count comes from. The next part of his abilities, from this, in my understanding, it looks like E is the drone, which you attach to a teammate. So right now it's attached to Storm, right? And once it's attached to Storm, he pops this little like shield thing. I assume it's just probably like damage reduction. It's not like a hard shield in front of him, but it looks like it instantly gives him overhealth, and it gives Storm overhealth. And I think it'll probably reduce damage coming in. And it looks like anybody nearby where the drone is, kind of like the Luna Snowflake, gets healing. So like Storm is getting healed slowly with this mark on it, and it feels like everybody nearby where the drone is attached to is getting healed as well, or receiving some sort of benefits, right? We give the drone, oh, okay, so we give the drone to Storm here, and then he presses the big rectangle shield here. It looks like all the teammates nearby the drone, if they're in range, because it looks like, look at this little icon here. Drone, and then you have like a 1, 2, 3, 4 little circles kind of like attached to him with some arrows pointing to it, so it definitely seems like a range thing. If you're in range, you receive all the benefits that the target with the drone has, maybe at a reduced capacity. And if we actually backtrack here in the trailer, you can see that whoever has the drone on, the Punisher, he's actively getting healed, and you can see this little circle radius right here, right? That's the range. So Doctor Strange and Groot are not being healed. Their HP is not green, but Punisher's is green, and Squirrel Girl's is green. So again, drone is basically where all the fun stuff happens. And that looks like his only healing capability in that way, right? Now here you see the new ability show up on the UI. I think that's a team up with Iron Man specifically. That's the beam that pierces, which we covered a little bit earlier. And it seems like all his healing is coming just from the drone being attached to somebody. It seems like a very passive healer, because it looks like it's all just offensive capabilities. Now when he pops his ultimate, gains 4 or 5 copies, and they all just rain a barrage onto the enemy. It looks like any targets hit take massive amounts of damage, and any teammates in the line of fire are getting healed. Yep, right there. You saw that, right? Captain America, HP bar went green for a second. Right here. Boom, boom, boom. Shot the cloak, got healed. Shot the Captain America, got healed. Hit the enemy. Did crazy damage. So overall, it feels like Ultron's going to be more of a flex support, kind of like the Adam Warlock, where he's kind of like, you know, not crazy on the heals. Although that being said, Adam's got some crazy heals now, but a very offensively oriented support. So it probably works well with like a triple strategist lineup. Maybe not so much. You definitely need to pair it up with like one of the stronger healing supports strategists, like a Luna, like an Invisible Woman, just to kind of pump more into the team. But Ultron does seem pretty wicked. And that's based on my initial viewing of this trailer. I think mid-season 2.5 is slated to be released next Thursday, 29th or the 30th of May, if I'm not mistaken, 1 week from now. All right, now let's actually move on to the Reddit. And we're just obviously going to skip over all the Reddits. I basically highlight all the fun stuff from those the dev video and the Ultron trailer. New Adam Warlock and Scarlet Witch costumes coming on May 23rd. Immortal Avatar Adam and Immortal Sovereign Scarlet. I'm a little out of the lore, a little out of the loop on the Marvel lore, so I'm not really sure what this is specifically referencing, but they look wicked. Next, we got some more small pieces of discussion and some memes. I know it's impossible to give the verticality, given the verticality of the game, but man, I'd kill for a wheelchair Charles to be added. What do you mean, given the verticality of the game? I think flying Charles could work. We have flyers in the game, and he could be entered as a flying hero. Now, whether he'd be a strategist or a duelist, that's up for debate. I actually think he could be a duelist, like a ranged duelist, where he just like flies in the air, and if he has line of sight, it's like, you know, psychic damage applied to them. Like kind of like a more utility-based duelist, not like a hard carry, but kind of like a backup carry that can probably debuff and be annoying. But actually, that kind of lends itself to maybe another flying strategist, similar to Ultron in a way, where you just like are constantly applying debuffs. Less about raw healing and more about that. I'd be down, but the actual only hero that I really want in this game is Daredevil, and I would really like Gambit because those are my favorite two characters. Next, Lord Icons really be like, and we have Sabrina Carpenter in her 2024 album, and then the 2025, it's like, hey, let's add some lighting here, and make it brighter, and bam, we have a Lord portrait. That's a pretty good meme over here. Next, a short little video, standing here I assemble, and kind of showing how tanky Captain America is, right? Okay, I'm gonna mute this in case I get DMCA'd. You know what this reminds me of? This constant Iron Fist punching of Captain America, barely not taking any damage at all. You know when like Cell first absorbed like Android 18 and became Perfect Cell, and then Krillin and Trunks were just like in awe, and then they do the same thing. They try to punch the shit out of him while Cell's just like, I'm perfect. And he just eats all these punches from both of them. Like Krillin, I understand, but then Trunks, before he powered up, was just basically doing 0 damage to Cell. But yeah, that's pretty much what it feels like. Last piece, what do we have here? You've seen this common in Overwatch. I'm pretty sure Line Pro came from Overwatch as well. This works. The only cost is that it cuts your ult charge in half when you swap to Loki. So if you're already almost close to a copy, you probably don't want to do this, but he's already at 50% because I think he swapped before this clip began. He swapped to Loki before it began. So at half charge, it's totally worth it. But basically in Overwatch, we have the same thing with like Mercy, where you go and res somebody, go back to spawn, swap hero, swap back to Mercy, and then res somebody again. They did this even earlier with Ana Sleep Dart. I think it was Hanamura, a famous Overwatch League player, slept somebody close to spawn, swapped off, swapped back to Ana, slept them again. They permanently kept one person out of the fight. It got patched where basically the cooldown is tied to the character, so even if you swap and swap off, the thing is still on cooldown, so that's no longer in Overwatch. And I assume if this becomes a popular problematic thing, I'm pretty sure NetEase should nerf this too. It's kind of like a tech, right, as it stands, but some people may argue it's a little bit of an exploit of the respawn mechanic, but I mean, I don't think this is a bannable thing, and I think it's pretty smart tech until they address it specifically. So like, I'm here getting infinite lamps is super, super strong. Lamp, swap off, swap back. The only thing you have to do mentally in this clip is actually count how long the strange portal lasts. I think it's 20 seconds, so just have a mental counter, or just like mentally kind of time it. Maybe do like 2 lamp rotations and then jump in to help your team. Because you can only really get like 1 decent angle, maybe you can get 2, but the team fight is probably inside is hard to gauge there, where people are kind of dynamically moving around. So it's good for like a cheese once or twice and then just hop in. Crazy good value there though, but good tech. I think that's all we have for the Reddit this week. Let me know if you guys are excited for season 2.5. Again, we'll be doing videos next week on covering Ultron, a breakdown on how to play him, and of course the patch video, so stay tuned for that. See you guys then.